it almost never happened. That's the starting point for any honest conversation about Tadej Pogačar in 2025. For most of the season, the Slovenian didn't just win. He controlled, dictated, and reshaped races in ways that made even elite rivals look like spectators. He collected victories with an ease that bordered on routine, stacked monuments, defended jerseys, and ended the year once again as the undisputed reference point of modern cycling. When people talk about dominance, 2025 will always be one of the seasons they point to. And yet, even in a year like that, there were a handful of days when Pogačar was beaten. Not often, not easily, and never without a story. Those days didn't expose weakness. They exposed how extraordinary it is to beat him at all. Each loss came with chaos, brilliance from others, or moments where cycling reminded everyone that even the strongest rider in the world is still human. This is the story of those rare days. The season began, as it so often does, with expectations already impossibly high. Pogačar arrived in Tuscany for Strade Bianche, not just as the defending champion, but as the man everyone expected to turn the race into a one-man exhibition. And for most of the day, that's exactly how it looked. Until it didn't. On a fast descent, something went wrong. A line misjudged, gravel shifted, and suddenly Pogačar was off the road and into a thorn bush. The rainbow jersey was torn, blood was visible, thorns were embedded in his skin. For a few seconds, the impossible seemed possible, that maybe, just maybe, this would be one of those days. Tom Pidcock sensed it. Others hesitated. Pogačar didn't. He remounted, angry and bleeding, and did what he always does when challenged. He attacked, harder than anyone else. The crash didn't beat him. It didn't even slow him down in the end. He rode away to win solo, turning a near disaster into yet another highlight reel moment. Technically, he wasn't beaten that day, but it was the first reminder of the season that fate, terrain, and chaos were still capable of touching him. The real defeats came later. Milan-San Remo arrived with the familiar narrative. This was the monument Pogačar still couldn't crack, the longest race on the calendar, the one that doesn't reward pure power, the one that laughs at dominance. This time, he didn't wait. On the Cipressa, far earlier than tradition dictates, Pogačar attacked. The peloton shattered instantly. History was being rewritten in real time. Only two riders could respond, Mathieu van der Poel and Filippo Ganna. Together, the trio raced into the Poggio, the crowd sensing something special. Pogačar attacked again and again. Each acceleration was violent, calculated, desperate to finally make the difference. But Van der Poel was glued to his wheel. At the top, there was no gap. On the descent, no mistake. And on Via Roma, it came down to the thing Pogačar can't change, a flat sprint against one of the fastest finishers in the sport. Van der Poel launched. Pogačar responded. It wasn't enough. For once, the race didn't bend. That day, Pogačar was beaten not because he wasn't strong, but because Milan-San Remo rewards precision over dominance. He rode one of the greatest San Remo performances in history and still finished second. Paris-Roubaix was different, brutal in another way. For most of the race, the idea still felt impossible, a Tour de France champion fighting for victory in the hell of the north. But as the sectors passed and the group thinned, there he was, riding with Van der Poel, matching him, belonging. Then came the corner. Not a puncture, not a mechanical, just a fraction of misjudgment, a moment too fast, a line slightly too wide, and suddenly Pogačar was sliding into the mud. The race didn't wait. Van der Poel rode on. Pogačar remounted, furious again, chasing, fighting, refusing to surrender. He finished second, exhausted, caked in dirt, having proven that Roubaix is possible, but also that it offers no forgiveness. That wasn't a defeat of legs, it was a defeat of circumstance. The Amstel Gold Race delivered perhaps the biggest shock of all. Pogačar attacked early, as expected. Remco Evenepoel followed. The two superpowers rode clear, setting up what looked like another duel destined for history. But behind them, someone refused to accept the script. Matthias Skelmus bridged across, quietly, efficiently, without panic. With 8 kilometers to go, the move came together, and suddenly the impossible happened. In a 3-up sprint, Skelmus beat both Pogacar and Van der Poel. No crash, no mistake, no excuse, just perfect timing and courage. That was one of the rarest things in cycling, a rider outthinking and outplaying Pogacar in the final moment. It wasn't chaos, it wasn't luck, it was execution. At the Tour de France, even the days he didn't win felt like victories. He controlled the race, defended yellow with confidence, and arrived in Paris already crowned champion. And yet, even there, a loss came, though it barely registered as one. On the Montmartre stage, conditions were dangerous. Rain slicked the roads. Officials neutralized times for safety. Pogacar still attacked, still raced, still entertained. But when Wout van Aert surged late, Pogacar eased. The stage win went to Van Aert. The jersey stayed with Pogacar. It was a reminder that sometimes losing doesn't matter, and sometimes choosing not to win is the smartest move of all. Then came Kigali. The World Championship time trial was supposed to be another coronation. Pogacar was in form, confident, dangerous, but Remco Evenepoel had other plans. Starting minutes behind, the Belgian hunted him down relentlessly. On the cobbled climb, Evenepoel rode past Pogacar, a rare sight. No hesitation, no drama, just raw speed and precision. For the 3rd year in a row, the Rainbow TT jersey went to Evenepoel. That loss stung, not because it exposed weakness, but because it showed that in very specific conditions, with perfect preparation, someone could still beat him head-to-head. And that was it. Those were the days. No collapse, no bad season, no decline. Just a handful of moments across an entire year where cycling reminded everyone that perfection doesn't exist. What makes these defeats remarkable isn't the losses themselves, it's how few there were. In a season packed with races, challenges, terrain, and rivals, Pogacar was beaten only when circumstances aligned perfectly against him, or when another rider delivered something extraordinary. That's the real takeaway from 2025. To beat Tadej Pogacar, you didn't just need form, you needed courage, timing, luck, and sometimes all of them at once. Those rare days didn't diminish his dominance, they defined it. Because when a rider loses so rarely, every defeat becomes a story, and every victory around him feels earned. And that's why, even on the days he didn't win, Tadej Pogacar still shaped the season.